I've I've started the recording now, so I will be able to provide that to anybody at the end if they want a copy of that. So all I've done so far in the Field Connect is I've just come into the login screen here. You can see I've got my username and my password, the company, so it is multi-company supported off the bat, and the session date that I wish to log in. So I can just log in and I can see I've got my daily schedule, I've got my weekly schedule. I can do a search for other records in the system that may not fall into either of those categories. And I can also add some non-job related time. So if I wanted to come in here on a Saturday, I wasn't feeling well, or I knew that I had the morning off for a doctor's appointment, I'm able to do that. And you can see here over in the Advanced Scheduler, you can put in things like doctor's visits and things like that to block out your own time. But what I'm going to do today is I'm going to look at my daily schedule. So I come in here, remembering this is on my device. Okay, I'm just running it on my computer at the moment. So let me just. We just got another user who's just joined us. I'm just going to grab his email. Joe, we just started the Field Connect demo, so you haven't missed anything. I am also recording this so we can provide that to you at a later date. So what we can see here is our daily schedule. We've got Wednesday the 1st of April, and I can see in chronological order the jobs that I've got to attend to today. And I can see that this one's from 8 till 10, 11 till 1, 2 till 4, and so on. I've also got a directions button here, and what I'll do is I'll just click that. The first thing that's going to do is open up the mapping application on your device, and it will map out there for you your route for the day. Okay, so that's giving you, obviously on my web browser here, it's doing it, in Google Maps. But if you're doing that on a Windows phone, that should open the Bing map application and give you that route for the day. Okay, so that's the first thing. I can go into this record here. I'm starting my day. I can go into this record here, and I can see that it's for job 1114. I can see here that the job is, what kind of job it is. I can see the status and the priority. So if I wanted to, I can actually change those as well. So if you were using a status that indicated that they were on their way or something like that, you're able to do that to inform your back office that you're on your way. So you are able to change the status of the job. I can see who created this for me, and I can also go into the job details as well, which is just a version of this screen which contains some more information. Also contains all the equipment on the job. It contains all the other time entries on the job, that sort of thing. And what we're looking at here is just this time entry. This is today's time entry from 8 till 10 p.m. 8 till 10 a.m. and what I need to do. I can see the site that I need to go to, and I've got the address here. And again, I can click on that address, and rather than doing a route, this is going to do a direct map to the location that I'm going. Okay, so I can use that again on my device to attend to or get to where I need to go. One of the great ones here is you've got the phone number. So think your technician is on his way, and he's going to just give them a call to let them know that he's running late. You've scheduled this time. You have an arrangement with your client that you're always there within 15 minutes of scheduling. He's going to be 5 minutes late, so he can click on that. That will bring up the dialer on the phone, and he can dial through and just say, look, I'm running a little bit late, but I'm on my way. You do also have access to all the other contacts in the business, so you can click on that, and if you were unable to get onto the one that you were specifically dealing with for that particular job, you can ring one of the other contacts and deal with them as well. I'm just going to grab this 1 second. We have here the equipment details. So if the time entry is related to an equipment, if it's connected to equipment, you will see the equipment details here, including the problem. Okay. And obviously I'm going out on site. That's what I'm using this product for. So why am I going? Well, I'm going to service this equipment. These are the details of the equipment, where it's located, or obviously very important. And I can see here that something is broken, and I haven't actually updated that fault. So we've got the fault there, and we can also view the history of that equipment. So I can click here and see the history of that equipment to determine, what we've done to it in the past, just to get an idea of what's been going on with it. We can see here our estimate. So we estimated that we would go out there from 8 till 10 for a duration of 2 hours. We've done no actuals, and we do have a note. So one of the first things I wanted to show you in regards to what I like to say the back office connection is if your technician decides that this is going to take longer to do, he is able to edit these estimates. And what I'm going to do this a little bit outrageous. I'm going to set this to be, 4 a.m. and I'll save that. And on the left-hand side where you can see Advanced Scheduler open, when a refresh happens, you'll see that that will redraw that time automatically for them. Okay, so that's one of the benefits of using a product like this, which is live. If you have somebody back in your head office watching your technicians on a daily basis, they've done the scheduling. They did the scheduling on Friday for the week ahead, and now they're just monitoring it, making sure that the jobs are being attended to. They're going to be able to see that happening live as it goes on. Okay, I'll just change that back. Now what I'm doing there is I'm just hovering over the time, which causes it to reload, but the system does automatically reload as well, so that would actually happen automatically. So as a technician, I can come through and I can open up my daily schedule and have a look at where I'm going, what I'm doing. At any time, this is a live product. They can log in at any time. They can log in on the Sunday afternoon to check what their schedule is for the week and have a look and maybe make changes if they feel they need to. They have access to do that. So I can go through that. But realistically, what I'm going to be looking at doing is starting the timer, which can be started directly from here. You can start the timer, but I'm actually going to go back into the record and do it. So I can see my estimate here. So I want to start my timer, and I click Start. And that's all I need to do. Okay, that's indicated that I've started and I've arrived, and my timer is clicking. Again, in the background here, when I highlight this, you'll see that the text will go red, and I even have the ability in here to dim. You'll see all these other ones went dim, the ones that aren't recording. So imagine I'm in the back office and I have my screen set the way that I've just done it. Every time I look, what I should be expecting to see is time entries either dimming or enabling as my technician moves through their day. So that is removing the requirement for the back office people to be ringing up the technicians. Are you on your way? Have you arrived yet? All of those things should hopefully be removed by just enabling a product like the Field Connect. As soon as the technician starts it, then you'll see that has been indicated back in the head office and that they know that something is going on. While I am on site, or while I'm in this, I'm able to take a notation. Okay, you can see here the notations. I'm able to look at this existing one that I did. You can see the notation here. And one of the great features is that you can take a photo, for example, on your smart device, and you can upload that photo as an attachment back on the notation. So this is one that I did earlier. So if I just click it, all I actually did was just take a screenshot of the screen and then put the word sample image in there. But the benefit is that will flow all the way through to the time entry, and you'd be able to see that on the job. So if they were doing a repair on a piece of equipment and they wanted to take a photo showing the state of the equipment when they arrived on site or something like that, they're absolutely able to do that and attach that to the time entry as well. Okay. Once I'm finished with that time entry, all I need to do is just click on Stop here. You can see that it's recorded my duration of 2 minutes. Okay, started at this time here, and we're going to go for 2 minutes. I can just stop that. And at this point, I'm editing my actual. So I've got my start, my duration, and my stop. So they do have the ability at that point to edit that if they need to. Okay, at any point they can edit any of these things as they're saving them. They can also choose their labor code and any loading if they're on, time and a half or anything like that. They can determine if it's cost only, and of course some of these values default based on the job that you're connected to and things like that, but in this case that it's not time only. You've got your timesheet here and your reference, but generally I should be able to just click on save, and I've done my actual. I can see here I now have an actual. Okay, so Wednesday from 9:16 for 2 minutes, and I use the service code of labor. And if I wanted to, I could even get a sign-off. So I can click on sign-off here, and I can say that it was Rosie was doing the sign-off. Rosie was happy. And then I can hand my device over to Rosie, and get her to sign. And I'm finished with that job for the day. So I can see here I have one actual. It's due because it hasn't been posted to the job. And I can see it was signed and the date that it was signed. Okay, so that I'm basically able to, at that point, move on to my next record. I travel to the next job and I can go through the process again. As I said, I can easily just click on the start here and just start directly. Or if I wanted to go into the record and do it from in there, I also have the ability to do that. Going into the record gives you the ability to do the notations and to do the sign off as well. If I'm back here and I do it outside of that, it's just a start and a stop, and it's just recording the time, and I would need to go into that record. So it's just simply a usability thing about how they go into that and what they do there. So you can see here they've got the they've got their whole daily schedule. We do have the weekly schedule, that sort of thing. You have navigation buttons at the bottom here to move you forward a day, back a day, or you can obviously bring up a calendar control and use that to change the day as well. Before I show any of the other features in the Field Connect, I'm going to unmute everybody. So if anybody has any questions at this point, please don't hesitate to ask them. So everybody should be unmuted except for those who muted themselves.
You might have cell phone, but if you don't have internet connection,
you do need it. It is an online product. Right now it is an online product.
But what do you need to have in the server in order to connect to Service Manager?
It's just a web install. It's like installing CRM or Employee Portal or any of the other web products. You just need a copy of IIS, which comes with any server version of Windows anyway, and you can install the product. Any other questions, guys?
Yes, if
what
you want.
ports do you need to leave open?
Go ahead.
Well, that's all. It's 100% dependent on what in IIS you configure every web page based on the port that you want it to be on. So it is a web page. So by default it's port 80, but you can configure a web page to operate on port 4172 if you want to. It just means that when you log in, you need to include that port number in your URL or in your bookmark.
Right. Thanks.
would you be able to use this offline too, just like the old system?
No, not now. We are working on that. That is as part of HTML5, the latest version of HTML. It does have the ability to save things offline, and that is something that we're actively working towards. However, that functionality in HTML5 is actually not that robust as yet. So it's a continuation of that. When that gets more mature, then we'll be able to do that. But it's definitely a plan. But right now, what we look at for time, what we see a lot with time, is people recording things on paper and then giving them back to somebody to enter, that sort of thing. We see a lot of that. If they are online, then they can use this tool. If they're not online, they can still use this tool at the end of their day without returning to the office when they come back into Wi-Fi or cellular data range, because you don't need to use the start and stop. Let's say when I got to this particular job here, I did not have any internet access. When I got back home for the end of the day, I can just click on the actual button here and enter my time. Okay, so it saves me having to go back into the office, write it down on a piece of paper, forget it, all of those sort of things. I'm just going to mute everybody again just quickly. So it saves me having to do all of that. I can just use this when I come into range rather than on site. So it does have some flexibility in that regard. Any other questions, guys?
Can this be used with? Yeah, I wanted to know, can this be used with a tablet with Surface or with an iPad?
It can be used with any device, and I want to make this really, really clear, any device with an internet browser. Okay, so as to what device you use, does it have an internet browser? It can be used. Okay, so that covers all current smartphones, all current tablets, all current PCs, all current notebooks, laptops, anything that you can get a browser on, then you can use this product.
Is it specific browser that you have to use?
As long as the browser supports basic HTML5, no. then it will work. Okay. We've tested this on every device that we have available to us without any concerns whatsoever. We've tested it on Windows Phone, both 7, 7.5 and 8. We've tested it on iPhones, iPod Touches, Android devices, iPads, Android tablets. Obviously I'm running it here in Windows. I'm running Windows 8. It runs on anything. There's no browser limitation. Any other questions, guys, before I show you the last few things? No? Okay, I'll just mute you all again quickly. Okay, so as I said earlier, just coming back out to the main home screen, you have your daily schedule. You do have a weekly schedule, which will show you the next 7 days. You can see here, here's today and then here's tomorrow, so I'm able to see that. And you do have a search tool. And the great benefit of the search tool is we're opening this up for the business partners to be able to create their own searches in here. So we can see here, I want to look at any jobs that I'm assigned to. So you can put in, these are filters here, so I can actually leave them all blank if I want to, and just search. And so now here's a list of all the jobs that I'm assigned to, and I could open up those jobs and see the job details here, see the equipment, and I can also add time entries. So I can schedule myself, okay? Or if I'm, on the field and I remember that there's one of my customers just next door or a few blocks down that I saw a job come through, nobody's scheduled yet there, I've got a bit of extra time, I could come in to find that job and then I could schedule myself to it so I can record some actuals against that. So they do have the ability to do that sort of thing in here just by using the search tools here. And you can see here that these are the ones that we have created, but I just will show you. You can see that these are actually just little script files that we provide, and they're inside those script files is just a SQL statement with some key options in there, and then that is used to build up the search, okay? And we've even provided an example one. So you are able to make your own. As a business partner, you're able to make your own, so there's hopefully ongoing revenue there for you. If your customer comes back to you and says, look, we need a new search, it's no different than writing a report for them. You can bill them for the time that it takes for you to do that. There's not a lot of ongoing revenue there, but something, better than nothing, so to speak. Okay. Oops, logged all the way out. So that is the Field Connect module. I'm just going to unmute everybody again. And if there's any last questions before I move on. Sorry, was somebody asking a question there? Sue, I'm sorry. Sue? Sue?
I'm sorry. I didn't realize you had unmuted.
Sorry. Okay. I wasn't sure whether you were asking me a question or somebody else. So if you were just talking internally, then that's fine.
Okay.
So no other questions from anybody?
Yes. Do you only just do time entries, or can you add more equipment? Can you add more something, or what are the limitations of what else you can enter?
No, right now, Jaime, it's just time entries. Okay, so we are just working on time entries. However, the point of the Field Connect product is to be expandable. We spend a lot of time on the technology underneath the Field Connect versus the functionality that you see. And the idea being that each of these little nodes that you see here today, or each of these buttons that you see here today, the plan is to expand upon them and to try to keep the functionality simple and clean and broken apart, if that makes sense. We all know that the best apps and things like that we use on our smart devices are the really simple ones, the ones that are really easy to use, that you don't need to go through 15 different screens to get what you used to or what you need to. So if we do add the ability to do, say, for example, tasks or equipment management, that sort of thing on here, it will be its own button, and it will be managed as a simple process, and not, you're never going to see the job tree in here. You're never going to get any of that kind of level of detail. It kind of defeats the purpose of having a mobile product, especially a mobile product designed for, it is designed for a smartphone. We know that's the higher user base. and you don't want to be scrolling around and pinching and zooming and doing all of that sort of stuff. So we're really trying to distill down what does the technician do when they're out on site. And that's how we came to the point of when they're out on site from a time point of view, they just want to say, I've arrived, and then they want to say, I've finished, and have their time done for them. Okay? So we really tried to distill it right down to the most basic level of functionality to keep it easy, to keep it simple, and to keep them using it, which is the most important point. Okay?
So if we need to add parts, then we can enter the time. I know that it's like, at least they know that I'm working on something, but the parts have to be entered through the other portals?
Okay, right now, yes. In 6.1 or 2012 version of Service Manager, which is coming out very soon, we have added parts to time. So once that is released, then the Field Connect product will be updated to support that as well. Okay?
What about metering? Will that work for metering?
It doesn't work right now for metering, but again, that's another thing that is designed to go into this in the future version. Remembering that this product we just released, so it's brand new and it's just first version.
So would we then be using the mobile, what is it, the older version of the program for the metering?
If you need to do metering right now, yes, you can. So, and I highly recommend any of these feature suggestions you have to email them to Mark at technosoft@technosoft.com.au, just so he has an understanding, you know, of what are the higher priorities. You know, the more emails we get asking for metering, then the higher that goes up into the list of things that have been added to Field Connect in what order. So please don't hesitate. Always email Mark and just say, look, this would be great. You know, we would really like this. We think this would move the product. Any information like that helps us make those decisions as to what comes first. So please don't be shy. I know most of you aren't anyway. But that's fine. And Paul asked a question in the chat what the non-time related entry was. And that's just to be able to add time in here that is not job related. Okay? So if I was to do that, all that's doing is putting in some time in the system indicating that I was somewhere and did something, but it's not time related or not related to a job. And you can see here you can specify whether it's an estimate and an actual or whether it's an estimate only. And a lot of people use that for just booking out blanks of time, and we will add into that in the future notations so you can record why you're putting that time in there. Okay.
Is there an additional cost for the product, or is it part of the base price?
No, there is an additional charge for the product, and I'll leave you to bring that up with Bob as he looks after the. I'm just doing the demonstration of the product. Any sort of pricing and stuff like that, because we're going to have people here from Canada and North America, you know, on the chat today. So I don't want to, you know, quote pricing from the price book or anything like that because I'll get it wrong. So just email Bob on that, and he can move that conversation forward with you, and he can, you know, he's the best person to ask about that. Okay. All right, if there's no more questions, I'm going to bring up our Fling It product. I will mute everybody again, and we're going to move on to Fling It. Okay. So I've just muted everybody, and what I'm going to do just to show you is I'm going to close down ACPAC, as I just want to highlight that the Fling It product, even though it does work with ACPAC, it is a standalone product as well. So Fling It is our tool that we designed to create emails out of, I'm going to say, an accounting system. It really is open to any kind of system, but accounting is the logical choice for it, to get data out of your accounting system and to include it into an email to your client. Okay, it came about quite simply, personally, from me trying to email one of our customers out of our internal copy of ACPAC, so the one that we use to do our billing. And I was in the AR customer screen and I couldn't figure out how to create an email. And then I realized I had to copy and paste that, and then before I was able to send an email. And I thought to myself, well, there has to be easier, and maybe there's something that we can do there to create a product to make that easier. So Fling It was born. So it is an Outlook add-in. It directly integrates directly inside Outlook. We have support for Outlook 2007, 2010, and we will do the 2013 version as soon as somebody needs it. It's just a case of rebuilding the ribbon in 2013. But you can see here we've got Fling It. It integrates directly into your email toolbar there. We can see we've got 3 buttons here available to us at the moment. We have the Fling It email, which we'll cover off in a minute. It does have integration with the Technosoft Report Manager product. So if you are running this on ACPAC or Sage 300 and you have Report Manager, then this button will enable. And then we have the administration tool. And I just want to clarify, this product will work on any SQL database. Okay, you don't even need ACPAC at all. You don't need, theoretically, you don't need any of this, the Sage ERP product. You could use it on, if they've got their own product that they use that, they wrote 10 years ago in SQL that they're connecting to Sage, Timberline, for example, you can connect to that SQL database as well. Okay, it is completely independent. So let's demonstrate the functionality of the product. So what I'll do is I'll do that first one that I spoke about. I just want to email one of my customers, and this is integrated with 300, obviously for me right now in this demonstration. So I'm going to send a basic customer email. It is going to bring up the ACPAC Finder straight out of ACPAC with a list of the customers that have an email address. I double click on it and it pops in there the email and the person's name. So that's a really simple one. I'll take it a little bit more advanced. Flingit has the ability to do batch emails, so you can batch a whole heap of emails together at once. And what I've done here is I want to email all of my customers with a credit limit in excess or a credit limit default. And you can see here that it is a batch. So I can click on that. And I'm going to get a list of the, like a predefined list here of the emails that will be sent and who they're going to be sent to. And I'm completely responsible for what is displayed in this screen, and we'll have a look at that when we get into administration. And I'm popping this up because I have the ability to say, okay, well, no, hang on, I just spoke to them this morning, so I could untick them and they won't get a copy of the email, for example. Okay. We have an auto send option here, which I'll leave off, and I'll just click run. And what that's done is that's created 3 individual emails, and as you can see as I move up and down, those emails are individual and they are exactly the data for that customer. So I can see here it's got their email address in, and then it's populated this whole email here. It's put their name in here, it's shown them what their current credit limit is, and it's given them a list of their outstanding invoices here. And as I move up and down, you'll see that list changes depending on the customer that I'm currently on. Okay. So that's your batching, able to do that on a batch. You do have far more control as well. I can come in here and I can do things like runtime parameters. So when I run this Flingit, is what we call it, when I run this Flingit, I'm able to provide some more information. So I want to run one for purchase orders with outstanding lines by vendor. So it's saying, what is my vendor? So I can bring up here and find my vendor, and then it's giving me a list of the purchase orders that are outstanding. Yes, that's the one that I want to email them about. And obviously I could have this as a batch, and I could have them all in an email rather than just providing the one. And you can see here, dear Mr., obviously the vendor's name, our records indicate that this PO dated this day is still unreceived parts, and then here is a list of the unreceived parts and the parts they're waiting on. Okay, so, and this is obviously all come out of the purchase order lines table. So what you get out of Flingit, what you can create in Flingit, is unlimited. It's the imagination of what the person wants out of the database, essentially. As I said, I'll come to how you do that in a minute. I was just showing you some of the flexibility and functionality here. As I said, we do have integration with Report Manager, so I could easily click on Report Manager now. I can leave my email open that I've already put all these details in. I could run the report that is relevant to this. Okay, it might be my purchase order itself, to give them a copy of that. And regardless of what Report Manager could be configured to email this report by default or print it, it will attach that as a PDF no matter what was set up in Report Manager, and so therefore I could now send that. So without doing any real, I haven't logged into ACPAC, as you saw, I never logged into ACPAC. It does consume a LAN pack obviously when it's retrieving the data out of the database, but the login is done automatically for you. I don't need to do any login screens. I don't have to go through any of that. I can just be in my Outlook sending the emails that I need to send, and having them produced to my my clients, my business partners, my own staff, for example, and that sort of thing. So Flingit comes with a full administration tool, And as I said, it is a standalone product, so you can see when I create a connection to the database, I can see whether I'm connecting to SQL and or connecting to Sage 300. So if I didn't have that on, I can still do SQL only, and this whole thing will disappear if Sage isn't installed. I've got my logins, so Flingit contains its own logins. You log into Flingit, you don't log into the accounting system, and so you specify which users have, admin access, and you can see here that I'm logged in as admin, and I'm administrator, and I'm using the Windows authentication, so I wasn't not provided with anything there. Kayla, you just asked a question about whether we can select invoices by date range. Any question like that you have, I'm going to say to you, that's up to you. Everything is configurable by yourself, so how you do the from and tos and things like that is completely up to you. I think I have one that I did like that with a date, okay? So I could have 2 dates on here, which is a from and a to, okay? So you do have that flexibility. It all comes down to what you build into the system, okay? And that's what I'm going to cover now. So it all starts with a view packet, and what I'll look at here is I'll look at this purchase orders with outstanding lines. So when I've set up this view packet here, the first thing I've done is I've said that it's a Sage 300 connection. Okay, it's going to open up the purchase order header view, and it's going to only show me records where the lines are greater than 0. In other words, it has lines. The lines are not equal to the lines complete, and the PO itself is not complete. And there is a tool in the system to help you with that. It lists all of the fields in the view, and so you just drag them over here and use that to create your filters. So it does have all of that available to make that a bit easier for you. You don't need to remember the field names. And we've even put in there, things like the ability to type that in there to find the fields that you're looking for to make that super easy. We can see here are the values that we want to come out of this. So when I preview that, you'll see that they match what we're seeing here in the Finder. So you've got the PO number, vendor name, so on and so forth. So you can control the original fields that come up for you. And then we can see here what we're doing is we're connecting to the vendor and we're connecting to the purchase order lines table. And it's even quite smart in how it does that. If I take this off, find purchase order lines, it will do the join for you automatically as well. Okay, so the idea is that if it is a Sage 300 view, it can open up the views and determine how they join together in some instances, and it will create the links for you automatically as well. Okay, so doing that gives you the ability to simplify how this is all set up. Once you have these view packets, and think of these as data connectors or data sources, things that go into the database and do the connection. Somebody asked a question about whether I'm logged into ACPAC. Will it consume a LAN pack? No, it will not consume a LAN pack if you're logged in as the same user, obviously. Does Flingit consume an ACPAC LAN pack? Yes, it does. Okay. However, not trying to take away from ACPAC at all. If you created all of these view packets as SQL view packets, then it's accessing the data through SQL and not through ACPAC, then it will not consume a LAN pack. Okay. The limitation there, or what makes it a little harder, is you need to know SQL. You need to be able to write your own fully fledged SQL statements, and you need to be able or your own SQL stored procedures in order to do that. Whereas the view system gives you the bit more easier level of join, gives you full table names rather than like table descriptions, not just table names, field descriptions, not just field names, that sort of thing. So that's really up to you guys as to how you do that. Once you've got the view packet, you're able to create one or many layouts on top of that view packet. Okay, so you can see here's the purchase order lines with outstanding lines. It's connected to that view packet there, but I could connect multiple to that view packet. It also has its own filters, so you can do 2 levels of filters here. And you can see here this is a view lookup. So show me the V code, which is the vendor code equals, and bring up a finder. I'm not going to cover off how to do all that. It's all in the help file. You've got the title here and the group, and this is what the user will see eventually in their Outlook window. So you can see here there's the group and there's the title. You've got whether it's batch, and if it is batch, is it auto send. You've then got the to, the CC, the subject, and the attachment. And again, all of these fields, you just drag and drop the fields out of the database. It's coming up here. You can see I've got the header and the vendor listed together, so I can grab any of the fields out of any of those tables to bring into here. And again, I can just type in any of the words here to try to find the right field. So you can see here I've got AP vendor email 1 and AP vendor email 2. I've got my subject line here. I've got an attachment. Now these can be one of two things. I can bring a field into here, and if that resolves to a file path, it will do an attachment. I could also do something like that and put in a literal file path, and that would mean that every time I send this, then that will be attached. The perfect example I can give you is the one that I showed you earlier with the credit limit. Then all I need to do would be attach to that the standard terms and conditions. Every time then that credit limit email gets sent, the terms and conditions PDF from the server would be attached. Okay. You then have the body of your email that I set up here. You can see here you've got some formatting, some basic HTML formatting here that you would expect. And again, if you want to bring a field in from the view, it's just a case of dragging it in there, and then that will obviously be replaced with the value when that happens. And we also have the secondary fields or secondary tables here. So this is obviously a one, just like a report. This is your, your report header, I guess you'd say, and then this is the report details. So this is on the purchase order lines. So therefore, every line that is received out of the database, this will get replicated and put into the email. And we saw that visually here. Okay. You can see that relates to this right here. Okay. And in the bottom of the email, you can see that that is listed there, and that's just been added by just, again, dragging that and dropping that over there, and then that's where that will go. Okay, so you have a fair amount of flexibility with your layout and how you do that. You also have user security, so you can specify which users get access to which layouts. So this is a purchase order layout. It maybe contains costs and things like that, so I'm only going to give that to the users in my system that have access to that, or that I want to be able to see that email, and so they wouldn't even get a copy of that in their list. So in regards to what you can do with Flingit, there is no limit. Okay, you can do whatever you want to do with Flingit. You can get whatever data that you want out in whatever format that you want out in whatever layout that you want out. Flingit stores its data on the server. You would have this on the server, and it stores it in the layouts and the view packets folder. And so there is ongoing. It is not ACPAC users. They are Jaime. It is Flingit users. Flingit has its own users here. Okay. Flingit is a completely independent product. It does not require ACPAC, so therefore we do not use ACPAC users. Okay, Flingit has its own users. So in regards to for your business partners, if your customer rings you up and says, "Look, I need a new Flingit," all you need to do is create them a view packet and email them the view packet, and a layout and email them the layout, and they just pop them into their relevant directories, and it comes live. So no different than, again, creating a report. There's ongoing revenue for you there, and realistically, creating a Flingit is no different than creating a report. You're going to start a new one. You're either going to do a SQL one here, or you're going to do a Sage 300. If you do Sage 300, you get a list of all the views. So you're trying to find, the Service Manager view, for example, and you're starting, and that's your starting view, and then you can join all your subsequent views to that. So no different than writing a report, but you can build that up for your client and then charge them for that, and you can obviously keep that and then resell that to another client if they ask for something similar in the future. The last thing I'll show you before I open up to open questions is Flingit does also work on appointments and tasks. And the great thing about appointments specifically is if I come in here and I say, well, on Friday at 9 a.m. till 9:10, which is a 10-minute interval, and I'm going to do the credit limit one. What that's done for me I'm on the wrong calendar. I did that on Friday? This Friday? Okay, it's this one. Too many calendars here. So on that Friday, you can see that it's done each of those emails or appointments, and you can see here it's got the detail. But what it did for me is, because I specified that they were 10 minutes, it's created them in a sequence of every 10 minutes. So I can use that to create some quick items in my calendar as a workflow for me to do things, okay? And all I need to do is just specify, you know, the starting time, and the system will work out the difference between the starting and the ending, and then create each calendar item that many minutes or hours apart, as you can see here. So that's some of the functionality that you can use in Flingit, okay? So again, just an overview, completely independent of ACPAC, but does integrate with ACPAC. So just remember that it works with any SQL database system. It does integrate with Report Manager if they are using ACPAC and have Report Manager. Logins and everything are all independent and all stored within Flingit, and you can create as many of these Flingits as you want, and there's revenue ongoing for you. So I'm going to unmute everybody, and if anybody has any questions, now would be the time. Okay, guys, any questions?
Hey, Danny, how do you assign then the Flingit user to a regular user? Do they have to log in twice?
They do not log in twice. Nobody logs into ACPAC, okay? ACPAC is connected. You can see here it is connections, okay? This is what Flingit connects to. The ACPAC username and password is provided when the Flingit connects to ACPAC, not when the user does, okay? It's entirely independent.
But the users that you said, I'm going to give rights to these users. And that's when I asked.
That's these users here.
Because
these users right here. I mean, I create these myself.
How would I log in? Is it as Daniel or as admin?
I log in as whatever I create the user to be. Okay, I didn't get a login because I have specified Windows authentication. So it has automatically logged me in. Okay, if I did not specify that, when I log out of ACPAC, out of Outlook, you'll see here that I need to log in, and I can tell it to log in automatically, which means that now the first time I come into Outlook for the day, the first time I open an email or appointment, it will ask me to log in. And I only have to log in that once, okay? So now if I come back in and create a new email, I'm logged in until I close Outlook again, okay? But those logins are coming from here. They're not coming from ACPAC, okay? That's this record's here, all right? So it's up to you how you build your logins.
Is it using the ACPAC license? Is it releasing it once you've grabbed your data, or
correct.
Is it
right now there is no nothing in the ACPAC sign-on manager. You can see the sign-on manager isn't even started. Okay, so if I was to start this one here, it has logged into ACPAC. Okay, well, sign-on manager is still not visible. Okay, so if I bring in, how do I see that? I don't know how to bring that up, I'm sorry. It is still consuming a single LAN pack right now, and now it is not. Okay?
Right, so once it's grabbed it releases the LAN pack.
That's correct. As soon as the data is retrieved out of the database, the LAN pack is closed. Okay? So it's very frugal with its LAN pack usage. And obviously if the user is already in ACPAC, then, you know what I mean, then it's not going to consume a second one because it just shares the same LAN pack.
Does it require Outlook or?
Sorry, you broke up there. Hello? All I got from that question...
Okay, I'll re-ask my question. Does it require LAN packs or iApps? Just to make sure that we're talking
LAN packs. It's not a web product, it's a desktop product. It requires LAN packs. But remember, you can directly go to SQL. You do not need to connect to ACPAC at any point if you don't want to. Okay? So if they have a concern with their LAN packs, you can just do it directly via SQL. And I just want to also make very clear that you do not need ACPAC to run this product at all. Okay? You could be using this product purely on CRM, for example, even if they didn't have ACPAC. Okay, and getting data out of the CRM database. Okay, it is not limited to ACPAC, so please consider that when you think about who might be who might be able to use this product. Now, the question that got cut off was something about Outlook. It absolutely requires Outlook. It is an Outlook add-in. Okay, it's not a Firefox add-in. It's not a Chrome Gmail add-in. It is an Outlook add-in, so they require Outlook to run this product. I'm not sure who asked that question, sorry, and you cut off, so I'm not even sure.
That was me, thank you. You answered it.
Great. Any other questions, guys?
If let's say the administrator of Flingit, who creates the views and so on, it's let's see, it's using you have the admin user for ACPAC as its login or connection?
No. Again, just to really clarify, ACPAC is not required. So if you think about that, then any of the things that you would think you need the admin user from ACPAC, we can't do that because somebody could install this that does not have ACPAC. So anybody can access the administration tool as long as their Flingit user is an admin user. Okay? The fact that I called this admin is just purely coincidental. Okay? It doesn't have any relationship.
It doesn't even have to be ACPAC. I guess my question was leaning towards, okay, how do we secure any payroll data from whatever?
Yes. So you can see here, so if I just come back into this, okay, and I don't remember the password of this person, so I think it might be 123. So Daniel is a normal user, okay?
Yeah.
So if I log out of all of this, and I log in as Daniel, okay, I have no administration button.
Right.
If I bring up Flingit administration, because it's installed when Flingit is installed, it will ask for a username and password, and if I enter mine, I will be told that only administration users can access that tool. So the non-admin users have no ability to get into it. In regards to the layouts themselves, let's say they thought, well, I can just open up this layout here and I can add in that field. I can just open it because these are just text files, essentially.
Right.
The layout is an encrypted data stream, okay, and so they cannot change that. If they tried to change that, the whole thing would just die, okay. So there's limits to what they can do. They really can't do anything. That's all been thought about, obviously, and there's no way for them to be able to bypass that sort of level of security.
Okay.
Okay, but obviously this...
How do you share this so you're not creating an install?
When you do the install, when you do the first install, I will show you how that works. Okay, so if I just go... So you install Flingit on the user's computer, okay? You need to have installed it on one computer first and set up a few things, like set up the users and things like that. So the admin person would set it up first, or obviously as a business partner, you would set it up for your client and then create at least their first user. When I do that, that's interesting. What's going on there? Okay, I've got a bug. I'll have to fix that. What happens is I'll just restore this file. I can replicate it manually. Okay, so what happens is Flingit would normally come up with a button that says configuration. It says welcome to your first run of Flingit, and it has a button that says configuration. When you click that, you get this screen. Okay, and it says here, welcome to the first run, Flingit stores this data, etc., etc. And what they need to do is they need to go off, and obviously you would do this for them, and point to the location on the server where the Flingit data is. And that's all you need to do. Okay, and that will load up all the data. Okay, so what that little file is storing is per user. It stores in here what the path is to the Flingit data. Okay, and that's how that works. All right, and that's where all the files are and everything that it needs. Okay, so that's like essentially connecting it to the database, the Flingit database. Okay. Any other questions, guys? No questions? All right, great. Well, what I'll do is I'll thank you all for your time. I know a few people have already left. I'm sorry that we went a little bit longer than we thought. We wasn't sure exactly how long we would be. So I want to thank you all very, very much for attending the first one. We will be doing another one in another month to highlight any new features. We'll probably be looking at something in Service Manager, one of the new features in Service Manager or something like that. And also you can send any suggestions to Bob or Mark as to what you might like to see in the future. But thank you very much for your time today. Hopefully you all got a lot out of this. And if you have any questions about what you saw today, you can email me or Bob directly, and we'll be able to help you with that. Okay? So thank you, everybody, and I will end the meeting now.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, guys.
Thank you.